Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Eleusinian Society. I had originally started this channel because I had an interest in the tarot cards and the symbolism that is found inside of them. After reviewing some of them, I happened to see some Masonic and Templar imagery, and I thought it would be a fun idea to make some videos kind of decoding them in that way. Unfortunately, writing a whole thesis paper on the symbolism and the history takes a lot of hours of time into research and study. But without further ado, welcome back to Eso-Tarot, an esoteric interpretation of the tarot cards. Card number 6, The Lovers. The Lovers. Two humans in a wild world filled with many unique images and bright colors. This card has a lot of symbolism to discover, so let's get started on decoding its secrets. This card features two naked human figures whose bodies parallel the vertical axis of the frame. One figure is a man and the other is a woman. The male figure has both palms exposed, with one foot firmly on the ground and the other gracefully brushing the grass underneath its toes. He stares into the foreground of the card, as if looking into the eyes of the viewer. The woman has a similar stance but is looking up to a large angel in the center. The angel has a gray cloak, red wings, and a radiant flaming crown. They are seen appearing out of a cloud in the sky. The sun's rays grace the shoulders of the angelic figure, and the background of the card shows a mountain range jetting from the vast plains before it. On the left side, behind the woman, there is seen a fruit tree with a serpent wrapped around it, and behind the man can be seen a tree which has been lit ablaze. I wasn't quite sure where to start with this card, so I'm beginning with the obvious. This card is traditionally said to represent Adam and Eve, the first human in Semitic religions. The pair occupied the mystical wonderland known in religious texts as the Garden of Eden. This can be understood as the tree to the left shows a serpent wrapped around a fruit tree, a nod to the story of Eve eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil with the temptation of the serpent. However, for being representative of the Garden of Eden, the setting of this card is bare and lacking in plant life. It has to represent something else. The next symbol which piqued my interest was the massive angel in the center of everything else in the card. This angel looked extremely familiar, but who or what does it represent? It was then when I realized, an angel with flaming hair? This can only be the image of one being. In my Gnostic studies, one of my favorite religious texts, which I've mentioned in a previous video, the top 5 Gnostic Gospels worth reading, is the Book of Enoch, a story which follows the character Enoch, a close descendant of Noah, who traveled the realms of heaven and was taught secret divine knowledge within. Through his journey throughout heaven, he is accompanied by the angel Uriel, the flame-haired divine, who has, at least in Gnostic studies, guided humans in divine knowledge on many occasions. Uriel even goes on to warn Noah of the Great Flood. He assists in the rescue of Jesus' cousin, John the Baptist, from the massacre of the innocents ordered by King Herod. He also represents the angel of repentance in the text, the Apocalypse of Peter. In the Jewish apocryphal text, The Life of Adam and Eve, Uriel is shown as the spirit featured in the 3rd chapter of Genesis, who helped bury Adam and Abel in Eden. This angel is all over esoteric religious stories regarding early man's involvement in both Christianity and Judaism. The name Uriel literally translates to "God is my light," which could be tied to the burning sun which glows over him. The story of Uriel and Enoch leads to a huge rabbit hole which holds knowledge only too good to be true. As stated before, Uriel is featured in the Book of Enoch as an angel who guides Enoch into the heavenly realms. He, along with Raphael and Gabriel, vouch on behalf of humanity to God, who threatens to bring justice upon the earthly world. In the Book of the Watchers, there are a group of fallen watchers called Grigori, who take human wives and produce a sort of demigod-type humans called the Nephilim. This story parallels the story of ancient Sumeria, where the gods procreated with humans to create the Anunnaki, and the stories of Grecian mythology, where gods often consummated with humans to create demigods, like Heracles. In Hermetic and ancient occult studies, the very basis of the tarot, Uriel is regarded as the archangel of the north and the elemental embodiment of earth, due to his interest in humanity. The figure in the Lover's card shows compassion for the two human figures in front of him, but also shows signs of committing to a certain duty. In some Judeo-Christian texts, such as the Book of Adam and Eve, Uriel is considered to be the cherub of whom guards the realms of Eden and ensures that man may not return to its original paradise. He guards the gates of Eden with a fiery sword, which in the Lover's card is not present, but his hair still shows his elemental power of fire. The sun that shines brightly behind him is oftentimes a symbol for light and life. Light, which in esotericism stands for wisdom and understanding of the universe. The golden rays end at the shoulders of Uriel, which solidifies my belief that he is the one holding the human figures back from attaining true light and knowledge. When Eve ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, she gained sight into the very namesake. Eve brought clarity to her mind and left the naive woman she once was behind. This is why, in my belief, she is shown looking into the direction of Uriel and the sun. She had tasted a piece of God's knowledge, and was therefore exiled from Eden forever. Adam, on the other hand, was coerced into the happenings in the garden, and therefore looks away from the light, as he is still partially in darkness. The tree behind him is an interesting symbol, which may have to do with the story of the lineage of Adam. The tree behind the male figure is barren and engulfed in flames, which have left no greenery on the plant. One could say that it could be a parallel opposite to the one behind Eve, and that while she, giving in to the serpent's advice and eating the fruit, gained knowledge of divine nature, whereas Adam's sight was figuratively burned during the exile from Eden. However, I believe that this symbol is a much more literal one. In the book of Exodus, the main character depicted is Moses. Moses, being in the line of Adam and an instrument of God for the Israelite people, became one of the first people outside of Adam and Eve to have a chance to talk to God directly instead of by angelic couriers, such as when Mary found out she was pregnant with Christ. Moses was a movement towards the bloodline of Adam, reconciling their relationship with God after centuries of punishment from the Egyptians. He spoke to God and was given the Ten Commandments, a shared knowledge from God directly, which was on a higher level than attained by Eve after eating the fruit. The burning tree represents God's plan for humanity, and the tree with the snake represents the will of humanity to outperform God's knowledge. While we know that one led to the freedom of a nation, the other led to the banishment of humanity out of the garden of heavenly delights. The reason the Lover's card shows no trees, no flowers, and no floor cover outside of the grass is because the scene in which this card takes place is actually a commentary on the moments after the exile from Eden. Eve, hungry for more knowledge on good and evil, seeks out the light which Uriel guards, but cannot see it. Adam turns away and waits for God to make the next move, which comes to fruition through the covenants of Abraham and Moses. The lovers show duality in life and in love, the feminine qualities of comfort and intrigue, and the masculine quality of a long physical journey of war and hardship. The balance between those who seek and those who wait. The pictorial embodiment that reminds us of our humanly fall from grace, and the story of the celestial soul who loved us more than the rest. The Lover's card is about finding equilibrium in a world that tries to tear us apart, and the consequence of giving in to earthly temptations. I'd like to thank you for joining us on another edition of the Eleusinian Society. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more videos.